Hi there, welcome to the Polkadot and Wyckoff technical analysis session. So last week we talked about Polkadot is basically still pumping in rocket fuel, and it's like it's going to take a while. So how far has it gone after a week? Let's find out. Here, the first thing we see is this triangle, the red key level of $4.3 and this yellow dashed line. So even this week, the price has dropped quite a bit in the early part of the week. It hasn't fallen below this yellow upward trend support. So if I adjust a little, because we see the wicks even a few weeks back, it's a bit outside. So what happened was, when the price dropped to around this yellow dashed line, it bounced back to the current level where we're at around $3.95. So essentially it means that the support is still effective. So if that continues for the next few weeks, similar to what I said last week, when this line crosses the key level of $4.3, that's around early November, the beginning of November, and the breakout would happen before that. So by October, or even before that, we would be able to see a bigger price move coming, at least breaking through either the red level or come back down to test the white support, which I think the likelihood is more towards the upside over here. I've got a reason for that. So last time I showed you this Bollinger Band Keltner squeeze, and the squeeze has happened since early June. While there were a bit of fluctuations, it never really released the power of the squeeze. If it does, in a weekly time frame, when the power is released, the moves are very big compared to a squeeze just in the daily. So it's still continuing the gathering of the rocket fuel, is testing our patience, or whoever that are bullish or waiting for the price surge to come. We still have to wait for a while before the moment arrives, but then it's getting closer and closer. Like I said before, if this squeeze is really going to squeeze the price to the downside, which I won't say is zero chance, there's still possibility, but to me it's like 20 to the down, 80 to the upside, or even 10 to the down, 90 to the upside. It's just a matter of time that we see that happening. So maybe in the next few weeks I'm still going to tell you, okay, yeah, it's still within this triangle, but it is what it is, right? The accumulation has to happen before the actual pump occurs. So that's the big picture. It's testing our patience. We're just waiting for the next distribution cycle to happen and see whether it can challenge the previous key level of 10.3, because both December last year as well as March last year reached that particular key level. So hopefully we'll see something similar, given the assumption that Polkadot is still going to be a healthy project when that happens, because that's the key element for people to come in and you can say they're FOMOing in, or they're supporting the project. Any kind of saying will work as long as the project remains healthy with sufficient people supporting it. So more evidence from the daily. Here it's very busy. Previously we put in this question asking, let's use this auto to enlarge it first, is it going to show us a second test or an upthrust? And just on Saturday, a second test appeared, and then it quickly came down for the second sign of weakness. But then it found support from these dual support area. So both the upward trend line as well as this horizontal intermediate support that came from the sign of strength, the PS, the automatic rally during the quick accumulation back in the beginning of this month. So as of now, this price, if I turn on the indicator, it has entered a squeeze as well after the price actions of the past week. So this is getting to a point that a price swing will happen, a bigger price swing will happen for the daily chart. Even though the weekly is still gathering pace, the weekly having like to stay aside for a moment, the daily wouldn't wait. So maybe it's going to get to a sign the upthrust, but looking at here, it's not too crazy, right? So for an upthrust in the daily time frame, it's getting just to the red key level of $4.3. This is the weekly chart. If I go back to the daily, that's where it is. It's already sufficient for an upthrust to appear in the daily chart. So that's how interesting it is if we switch between the two time frames. So after the upthrust, it can still come down for another test. Well, if it happens just in the next 2 days, it can still quickly come down to show us another sign of weakness quickly before it goes up again. So if the price, like I said, in the daily chart continues to stay above this yellow dashed slope, that's how it can happen. That's just one possibility. The other is it doesn't go towards the upthrust. What would happen is it accumulates here quickly for a few days, and then that's another new distribution cycle. So that's the accumulation that happens over here, and then it quickly goes up. So that's all Wyckoff. Now to the candlesticks and volume. So if we look at this very long bar over here compared to what we have here, the volume, yes, is a little bit lower, but the candlestick, the length of the candlestick is just half of what we had last Friday. So that means within this narrow price range, a huge change of hands has happened. So would it be the whales scooping up the last bit of stock before they pumped the price up? That may be a signal. So it's really just a matter of time that we see this happen, while the weekly time frame is showing us that we may have to wait for a while, but the daily is indicating that is getting to an area that a price swinging outside of some resistance is going to happen. So if I draw a line here, this we see a pendant in candlestick pattern analysis terminology. That's a pendant. A pendant means the price can go either way, but let's say there are two groups of people. One group says it can go either up or down. The other group says when the price comes from the downside to the upside into the pendant, eventually it will go to the upside when it exits. So and vice versa. So let's see which group of people are correct this time. And this cross, sorry, I shouldn't touch the line. So this cross over here, let's do this, adjust this to a more accurate point. So this intersection point right there is around 21st of September, and we all know actions could happen prior to that. So in about 3 weeks time, if the price still stay above this yellow dashed line and continues to trade around this range, it will eventually come to the point that the breakout towards the upside has to happen. It doesn't really have to happen that crazily. It can lean along this upward support as well, or it has to show us that this support is no longer valid. even though the probability is lower than like going up because of all these buying that we are seeing, these crazy long buying bars that we are seeing, if it really comes down to test whatever support level we have, may it be this intermediate support level or even this lower level, the bottom edge of the long complete run zone, it will eventually come back and try to finish the accumulation that it has been doing in the weekly time frame. But these tall white bars, meaning the price went up those days, is indicating that quite some people have been buying at this level, potentially waiting for the boost to finally happen. So I think that's all that I can share with you, given that we're still waiting. It's obviously testing our patience. Hopefully good news will come very soon.